All systems nominal.
それでは早速全速前進
You wanna know what the weak point of a mech is? The fucking pilot.
Get away from her, you bitch!
His papers say he was a raven.
Protocol 3.
A pattern blue!
Welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants, a giant robot power hour discussing mechs across media, their stories, and why we love them. I'm Alice, and I'm joined by Brian.
Hey, it's normal if I'm like 25 and still single because I'm holding it out for a 15-year-old, right?
And Nico.
But what if it was God's most exceptional 15-year-old because she can type that much on a goddamn phone with no keyboard?
This time around, we're discussing how time dilation can affect your text messaging rates. Hoshi no Ko, aka Voices of a Distant Star. Let's launch into it.
ねえ、のぼるくんいよいよ木星を出発。メールが届くまでだんだん時間がかかるようになるけど、一番端っこのオルトの雲からだって。
そういえば長峰は割と成績も良かったし運動もできたような気がするけど、それにしても国連軍だよ。なんだかバカみたいな話だ。
Hoshi no Ko.
Hoshi no Ko.
It's Hoshi no Koe.
I'm not rereading that. If we ever get one Japanese listener, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. The E is actually pronounced, unlike other Japanese words where the E isn't pronounced, obviously.
The E is usually pronounced.
I was going to say, it's almost universally pronounced.
Why do they call it Romanji? Why not just call it Roman numerals? Roman...
Because it's not numerals.
So Voices of a Distant Star is what we are discussing today, which was produced in 2002 by Comics Wave Films. This is an OVA, an original video anime. It is 24 minutes long, 25 if you have the English credits. So this was produced, directed, scripted, character designed, executive produced, and animated by Makoto Shinkai. Do you know that name, Nico?
No, but I think he needs a union.
Brian, do you know that name?
I do know that name.
Boy, why is that? Have you seen any other movies by him?
Actually, tragically, I haven't. I just know that he's extremely well known for like handcrafting extraordinarily beautiful and emotionally stunning anime OVAs by himself almost entirely.
Yes. What he went on to direct and became known for is movies about star-crossed lovers with beautiful skyscapes. You know, Your Name.
Oh!
Suzume. Everything Flows. 5 centimeters a second, which also is just this movie, but really polished and without mechs.
Alice, are you telling me that I should know this man from the beautiful double feature we did one night, which was Your Name and The Fast and the Furious 2 Tokyo Drift?
I cried at both movies.
Wait, was it Fast and Furious 3?
It was Fast and Furious 3 Tokyo Drift because we were keeping with a Japanese theme that night.
Yeah.
We had green tea. Probably not problematic.
That's beautiful and gay.
We had oolong and...
Well, was the green tea free of charge, though?
The green tea was not free of charge.
Well, we didn't have it after dinner, so...
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
No, we had oolong and momiji manju, okay? It was normal.
So why this is interesting, so this director, he's probably one of my favorite anime directors, guy behind the other movies, Whomst, Boy in the Heron Whomst. What's that guy's name?
Hayao Miyazaki, are you joking?
Yeah, this guy's better than Miyazaki. Anyway.
Allison!
Hot take alert.
Alice said, I don't know Totoro. And we said, what are you talking about?
So this was kind of how he broke into the industry. He did some things before this, but in about 2000 is when he first made a sketch for the kind of idea of what this would become. At the time, he was working at a video game production company behind Ys series and a bunch of other RPGs. And he really had a passion for anime. He wanted to make anime. So he took 7 months of his own personal time, quit his job, and used the 3D tools that he learned from his video game company to make this over a 7-month period. Originally, he did not have voice actors, so he voiced the male lead, and he had his fiance voice the female lead before they started shopping it around to different distribution companies. That's where comics came in. They bought the rights and they hired some actual voice actors and actresses to voice the characters. And it was released in 2002, right? So it went out there. And before that, he did A Girl and Her Cat, which is a kind of a very well-known 5-minute OVA. Super
a documentary about you.
Yes, A Girl and Her Cat, the documentary about he. When it was released with an accompanying light novel written by Waku Oba. I tried to see if he did anything else that anybody in our ever would know, and no. If you don't read Japanese novels about the 3 kingdoms of China in 2000, you probably don't know him.
We're going to have one listener who's like, that's my fucking guy. I love his novels about the 3 kingdoms.
We're going to have the Anno Green Gables listener of OSG.
Well, no, what I was saying about the Union is just, I mean, that's a stunning amount of work to do on this. Initially, I had whatever reaction, but when I found out that he pretty much did this single-handedly, I was like, okay, damn. Damn.
Go off, sis.
Makes up for some of the fucked up faces, but could have put a little effort in, you know? I just think of like YouTube animators and like what they go through to get monetization. And I'm like, this man sat down and said, I'm going to make an OVA that's 24 minutes long in 2000 with no distribution plan in mind. And I'm just gonna do it. And like, he didn't get funding beforehand or shop it beforehand, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and for it being that, I do genuinely think it's something extremely special and incredible. But yeah, I had the same kind of reaction off the bat of like, I did not remember the character design looking like this. I must have just brushed it off.
It gave me a little bit of warm tinglies because it reminds me of when you're first learning to draw anime.
Yes.
Something I did a lot with it reminds me of every how to draw anime book at the library. Yeah,
same thing. Anyway.
So this was also adapted into a manga in 2004, which a lot of the art online you'll find is of that. It's actually really pretty. We'll probably cover that as just like a something because I think it's cute. I think you should at least look at it. And then there was a final novel adaptation of it in 2006. All of these extra adaptations don't really add much to the plot, but they're kind of expanding on their relationship more than anything because that is the focus. This is not part of a franchise. This is a standalone OVA, all-encompassing story. Brian, what did you know about Voices of a Distant Star before we started talking about it?
I know I've seen this before, and it's a lot like what I remembered, but I don't have any grasp on when. I think it was in, y'all anime people know when like you go through those phases where you're like, okay, I've seen every good anime. I no longer know what to do. This is all garbage. And so you're just kind of scrolling through random shit. And I think that's how I found this one. And I really enjoyed my time with it when I found it, whenever the hell that was in this life. But that's pretty much all I have to say about it, really.
I love that part when you do get to that. You're like, I've seen Angel Beats. I've seen Haruhi. I know what good anime is, and the rest of this is trash. And then some people bounce off and they're better. Other people like me watch them seasonally as they come out, even if they're trash, because you just need more. You just got to shoot it straight into your veins, you know?
Yeah.
Alice has an anime problem, and this isn't the first time she's heard it, and it won't be the last.
I was just going to say, I definitely had a phase where I was like, watching at least some of every mecha anime I could possibly find. So.
Oh yeah, that moment when like you were like, yo, robots are fucking cool. I'm just getting into anything. Like I'm in that mecha tag on my anime list and I'm like sort by score and we're going through these one by one. And this was one I didn't bounce off of because it was 24 minutes. Nico, what did you know about Oshino Koe before we covered it?
I see you sneaking that in there.
Drop that back over my original reading.
I only knew the title. Like I've heard this title thrown around, and I assumed it was some full-length movie, or I don't know. I assumed it was more than this, but I think it's so funny. It's like OVAs usually refer to when anime, for me at least, they usually refer to an anime are like, okay, let's do a silly one. Or let's do a weird one.
Yeah, the like extra episode, right? You do it afterwards. It might be a little more raunchy. It might be a little more like off the cuff. It's like, slice of life version of my show. This is fun.
It might be a new story that's, if a manga didn't have that chapter, this is something the animators came up with or whatever, you know?
Or it might be like the show went and they came back and did like a 3-episode arc that people were really demanding to sell DVDs, you know?
Real quick, what is your favorite one of these?
Of an OVA?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to. It could be like a single bottle episode even of just like, what is even happening in this television show?
Mine is the one for Mob Psycho where they go to the hot spring and Reagan gets trapped in a hell dimension and everyone else just has like a really nice time at the hot spring.
That is such a good one. Mine is the one in Samurai Champloo where just like there's a random lost American warship that beaches on the shore and they play baseball and then just never see each other again.
I remember that one. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, Alice?
I was trying to think of one off the top of my head and then I tried to cheat and look something up. And then I was like, first choice, best choice. The Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid OVA, the one where they go to the hot springs. And they just are like, this is just fully a lesbian couple. Like, no hiding it. We're on the OVA. We're not airing on Japan TV. It's gay as shit. It's cute. It doesn't have any of the weird parts of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, so you don't feel like a creep. Like, the reason I'll never finish season 2 of such a pretty okay show. But yeah. OVAs.
It's funny because I have never seen that. So you saying the weird parts, that could mean anything.
Oh, but it's what you think it means. It's what you think it would mean.
Yeah, I kind of figured it is. But yeah, no, what I was coming around to say about the OVAs at least is like, this actually feels like an applicable use of the label. It's like, this is an original little story. It's not connected to anything else. It's about animation.
I gotta come back.
It's neat.
I've got to change my answer.
Okay.
It's Read or Die. The OVA for Read or Die, which was 3 standalone OVAs before they tried a TV series, and it lives rent-free in my head. I actually think it's over there. That or, oh, shit, if we're just getting into anime chat.
There's nothing else to talk about.
Blue Sub 6 is not as bad as people think, and we probably should cover it, because there is technically a mech in it. And I just want to see your all's reactions. Anyway, Brian, sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's extremely funny how sometimes when you do a podcast that talks about media, you end up just like talking about random fucking shit, like media that has nothing to do with the subject material.
We're specifically a Megapod.
Yeah, I was just listening to the Patreon Just King Things episode for this month.
They got fucking lost.
They got lost in the sauce. Anyway.
They mentioned Slings and Arrows and fucking The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. 2 shows I have not thought about since I was 10 years old. Anyway.
I thought that was a weapon. I didn't know there was a show. Sling and Arrow.
No. Alice is like, I don't know the Slings and Arrows TV show. I only know the original source material, and then kills me instantly with a sling.
She's on that Neanderthal shit. She's got basic tools down. I'm fucked.
Oh, Alice.
Anyway.
What is Voices of a Distant Star about?
So let's talk about the plot of this 25-minute OVA. Voices of a Distant Star follows Mikako Nagamine, a middle school student from Japan. In the waning days of her last year of middle school, she spends time with her friend Noboru Taro, planning to go to the same high school and join the same club. Nagamine is drafted by the United Nations Space Navy to be a tracer pilot in their fleet of spaceships, as they embark to fight an alien species named the Tarsians. As the fleet crosses the Milky Way and eventually jumps deeper into far space, Nagamine and Noboru exchange text messages that take longer and longer to arrive due to the distance between them in space. The two continue down their own path, stuck in different times and different places, as they try and stay connected. Both of them coming to the same conclusion by the end, that they will always be connected, no matter how far apart.
Gay.
Let's head to the break.
Hey, Nico here in the break. Just wanted to let you know that while this is a podcast, and we'll always do our best to describe visuals we're commenting on, we'll also include links to the mechs and images we discuss in the show notes, and post actual photos on our show website. Along with that, make sure to check the show notes for content warnings as appropriate to the episode. That's all for now. Back to the show.
let's kind of just get into this. So we open with something that he became well known for, which is way too beautifully drawn backgrounds.
Yeah.
And pictures of skies. Dude loves to draw skies. And we kind of get some interspersed scenes of the two main characters.
The opening is disorienting, right?
Sorry. Let's go back to the actual opening. So it's just her kind of walking around. And she says some wild ass shit, which is like, I always thought the world was as far as my cell signal reached.
It was really wild.
Yeah, she's giving like girl at the beginning of indie movie vibes with some of these quotes.
And so she's walking around this abandoned school and kind of like, why is no one on the phone? Why is nobody picking up the phone? There's nobody here. And then it snapped to she is suddenly in a cockpit of a mech in the middle of space.
Yeah, she like dissociated in this weird artsy sequence, but I really liked it because it kind of reminded me of it reminded me of the psychological stuff in Ava, but it also kind of reminded me of the weird out of it sequence we got in Escaflowne when she's like seeing phantom hot guys and all that kind of stuff.
Of the scene when she's breaking up with her friend. And just those shots. Really.
So I just have to assume that Japan at this time period was just like that.
Well, he also was making this when Escaflowne came out. So
yeah. Well, I don't know if it was a direct influence or anything. I just think it's a really interesting approach, and I like that we started from like a weird alienated psychological place because it primes you for the movie. I think better than if they just opened and they're just like in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. We then go to school.
Then we go to school. Middle school. I'm sorry. We'll get to it. It's so whack. What happened?
So it's her and the girl and the boy are just doing middle schooler shit, talking about their future. I don't know. It was really
talking about their high school entrance exams and like what clubs they want to be in. They're building towards a future which is kind of narrow when you're 15, I guess, you know?
Yeah, you're literally just planning for the next year, which is when you go into high school.
This was very like fully cooly to me, like the riding on the bike thing and like the, just like lounging around shots of students. I guess that's just kind of all anime really is a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, it was definitely hitting the highlights.
Yeah. And it's that ethereal period where you're not in class and you're a kid who is like treated as just a fully functional person who can just go out and do stuff and go to the convenience store and get in rainstorms with your friend.
And when it rains, speaking of which, when it rains, your EQ gets a little bit bad and you have to turn the volume like way up so that you can hear what each other is saying. Yeah. Just teen things.
At timestamp 326, we get free feet pics.
My God!
Everyone in the show has too long fingernails and too long toenails, and I don't know what to think about it. I simply logged the information.
He does. Yep.
I logged the information and simply moved on.
Did y'all watch this on Crunchyroll? Did it work for you?
I illegally downloaded this. Sorry, I requisitioned this from the internet.
Because the Dailymotion video for me was so low quality, I kind of didn't notice the hands or the feet, but I believe you about yaoi hands, honestly.
How could you not notice the feet?
I got so fucked up about fingernails at the Lord of the Rings marathon that I was like...
You're hyper finger aware.
So yeah, it's basically just them talking about their future. I mean, and they're going back and forth, and they're talking about... Oh my God, what are the mechs called in this again?
Tracers.
Tracers. So they see some tracers flying above with their chemtrails flying above. Tracers are the mechs in this mech media because we are a mech podcast. Noboru asks her if, do you think we know anybody who's going to go up onto the giant space fleet, the United Nations Space Navy fleet? And Nagamine is like, I'm just excited to be around you, Noboru. I
thought she said that's where she was going to go.
It takes her until a while.
Exactly.
She keeps it close to her chest.
Somewhere in these like kind of sparse moments we get of their relationship and their time at school, she has been drafted at some point, and so she like there's a really good shot where she like points up at the ship, which is called the Listhea, and it looks pretty cool. She points up at it and she's like, I'm going to be on that thing, and that's kind of when I was like, oh, that's what's happening,
Yeah.
Okay. We gotta stop everything and talk. What the fuck are you talking about? She got drafted. Okay, this is the United Nations, so presumably every nation on Earth, for some fucking reason, enrolled all of their population, regardless of age, in the draft pick for fucking fighting aliens.
We never see any other pilots, so I have to assume they're all middle schoolers.
Let's be very clear. We don't see anyone else, period, except for one love interest that gets a side shot. This movie literally only shows these two people.
Yeah.
There are some VOs, but this is the only human beings you see in this whole movie.
I truly choose to believe it is a random fucking cross-section of humanity in the other one. There's like a middle-aged greengrocer from Kenya in the other one. There's like me in the other one. Like, who the fuck is drafting these people? It's just...
I don't know what noise I just made. But that's so funny because it's like, this could have been a very different direction, which is like, oh, I got drafted into the, anti-Mars military campaign by accident because of like, I share the same name as my uncle or something. And it would have that as the title. And then like question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. That is such a like sliding doors.
I got drafted into an intergalactic warfare because my granddad signed me up for the United States Space Navy.
Yeah.
And I'm still in middle school.
With my smartphone? Oh, sorry, my Nokia?
With my super old Nokia.
Literally with my smartphone.
They did not let her change. This is what drove me nuts. She got drafted, presumably went through basic, learned how to fly a space mech, and they're like, middle school uniform? Fine, you're good.
Gunbuster. This is Gunbuster.
Yeah, so this is so heavily inspired by Gunbuster.
Like, it's so, it has to be.
Yeah.
So every scene that you see, so once she goes to space, we only see her in the cockpit of her mech. And in every scene, she's wearing her middle school
She's wearing
uniform.
her freaking seifuku,
Look, if they were sending me to go fight aliens on Mars,
you would go put one on.
I would demand.
See, the thing is, you gotta draw the girl in the seifuku curled up, floating in the cockpit, because that's Escaflowne. That is Escaflowne.
There is a full-on Escaflowne shot of her legs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where we start to see the main theme of this. They go to Mars. By the way, they're on a bike and we see some tracers and then cut to she is on Mars training in one of the mechs, which includes flying around and shooting down drones.
Yeah.
And these mechs are like, they're CG.
They're PS2 Armored Core models.
They're PS2 Armored Core models. It's really, it's a little bit difficult to reconcile emotionally when you see them at first.
Yeah, let's get into them. I got real Pat Labor vibes from these, but with the extended Gundam thrusters on the back.
Yes,
that you see in a lot
I was going to
of
say the thrusters, yeah.
But very Pat Labor vibes, I have a bunch of weapons inside of this body and you don't know until they activate vibes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went with Armored Core because there was some shapiness to like the chest plate and things like that.
They also have missile launchers that are like the Armored Core ones where it's just like a box that hangs off you.
Yeah.
The cockpit itself, let's talk about it. It's chair.
It's really cool.
It's an Ava cockpit. It's literally just pixel for pixel an Evangelion cockpit.
It's the long. I sit in this and shove my arms into a thing, and
everything
connected.
is transparent around me.
And you're suspended in this transparent bubble, which is I thought visually was really interesting.
It's interesting, yeah.
Couple things that I love about it. Number one, there's no mounting point for this chair. It is literally just free floating in this sphere cockpit. But instead of having her look down at a bunch of little screens like some places do, they just straight up just like have like text on the side of her monitor, pictures and shit. Like there's information shown on the monitor like you would have if you were piloting a mech with a sphere cockpit, right? Like,
you got a HUD.
I really liked that.
And
it's all in English, to be
everything
clear.
is in English, which was so wild.
Even the announcer, because it's the United Nations, and like English is like the default language for that shit.
Yeah.
The voiceover from the good guys and who tells her where she's going and kind of explains what's happening to her is literally just a lady speaking English that sounds like a robot. So like,
she sounds like British female voice Siri. Yeah,
she's got Siri. Yeah. I like this cockpit, and I like how it kind of is thematically a little bit different from Evangelion, which is just that because it has like that continuous surface, and we never, ever, from when she gets in, ever see her come out of it in any other context. So it gives this feeling that she just is never going to leave this mech, which I think is interesting and kind of adds to like the bittersweet feeling of like, I mean, everything about this, from the lighting to the music, is like extremely somber.
Yeah.
Right.
It really is. Bittersweet is really the word, you know?
So we get our first text message. So the tone of this movie is...
Hold on. Can we back up a little bit and talk about the fucking Martians?
No, that's after the first text message. So we learned that in the first text message.
Okay.
So calm your fucking tits. Okay?
Damn, it's 2011. I gotta calm them down.
This movie is a series of text messages and inner thoughts between the two of them. So it starts with her texting him. We learn that cell phone technology both can transmit across space. It has the technology exists no matter where you're at. You do not need a cell tower. You have one of these special Japanese phones in 2047. By the way, it's 2047 and
it's 2047. Can I just say, they live in a better world. Can you imagine if we lived in a world where we had mechs, Martians, whatever. We had mechs, but still the Nokia, the unbreakable fucking Nokia that you apparently keep for 10 years.
Honestly.
Oh. Anyway.
Society is.
Such a Did we assume that the phones in our Armor Austere game look like Nokias, or is that a false memory of mine?
Right?
Yeah, sidekicks, that's it.
Yeah.
Text.
And it's correct. I'm glad that we are correct. This is the kind of world building I want.
I do genuinely, I am so delighted by just the like conceptual aesthetic promise made by like sending T9 text messages via a Nokia across light years. It's just so fun and good and neat.
It reminded me of like pen pal letters, you know, in that way that it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of lost. I had never written one as a kid. I had to write one when I got into a language program. But the idea of like, you're writing kind of this stilted thing with this message that you hope reaches someone, and you have to just wait. And the time dilation, they literally say it's like snail mail in the 20th century. And it's like, I really like that.
The Martian comes up to her mech and it's like, you got games on that?
Yeah, it's wild they never showed her playing Snake on that.
This would be the greatest movie ever, OVA ever, if there was just one scene where she's just in the cockpit playing Snake in between deployments.
Come on, you're not telling... No one since 2002 has taken a clip of her typing into that phone and edited it so she's playing Snake. I'm so sad. I wish I had any skills.
Fuck it, I'll do that. That doesn't sound that hard to me. I'll try it.
Brian said, I'll animate something. Quits the pod for 7 months.
Still. My bad. Oh, yeah, quits the pod for 7 months.
What?
Quit the pod for 7 months and animate an OVA for us of her playing Snake.
So, what this movie does is, in the background of all of this, they really throw in the world building and just, like, very quick text
just
pops,
whatever the fuck.
Because it's not the focus, right? Like,
yeah.
We learned that they're called the Tarsians because they're in a crater by a similar name on Mars, right? And it's even marked as that. And we learned that, oh, by the way, there are aliens. Aliens exist. They were on Mars, and they killed a bunch of people on Mars. And so now we're at war. That's
it's like a Hunter situation, right? Because it's like, we sent in an expedition team, they got killed, then the Tarsians retreated, and we were like, no, we're sending the United Nations after you, and we're drafting all the middle schoolers we need to do it.
Yeah, gunbuster, baby.
And so we get mad that they killed us, so we kill everybody there on Mars, and then we take their tech, which we're going to use to make our United Nations spaceships. We literally then just get scenes of her traveling through the Milky Way. No, not the Milky Way. What's our solar system called? The solar system?
Yeah, just the solar system.
So it's her going farther through the system and getting farther away. And it's just like space shit. Like, oh, I stopped at Titan. We went to Europa. The whole shit, right?
Well, it really explains, because like people don't realize the immediate solar system. So like the cluster of Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, like those planets up to Jupiter are fairly close together. And so it's like, it's by Jupiter that she's really starting to see a dilation. But like eventually she gets farther out just in our solar system, and it's pretty far. Like, planets are so far apart and people don't know.
Y'all, the ignorance is so problematic. The solar system is far, okay?
Nico literally just said, did you know the asteroid belt
People
exists?
don't know.
Nico 2024, did you know space is big? Fuck me, I'm trying to bring it. People don't realize how far away.
You good with that?
I don't know if we're
You
gonna
wanna
make
sit
it.
with that?
I'll make it.
Y'all are just clowning on me, and you know what? It's fine. Pluto's far as fuck.
Cut back. Noboru is now in high school because time dilation has begun. So while time dilation hasn't begun at this point, or it's like very limited because she's still traveling in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a delay. There's no time dilation yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just a delay. So he's like, oh, I got a text from her and now she's at Europa. Okay. And then it's basically, what do you read on this scene?
I'm a little bit frustrated by this part of the film because I think that it's telling its story in a really blasé fashion very quickly. It kind of reminds me of like the Monogatari series where they like say a lot of stuff really fast and it's a lot of cutting little scenes. But for some reason it just didn't, maybe it was the mood I was in. I was just like having a hard time keeping up a little bit. But he does say a banger line around here, or a semi-banger line, which is, I'll become someone who only waits for Mikako's email.
Yeah.
Which, like, it's not as much of a banger until you realize, like, he's saying that kind of trepidatiously, but it's not like cautionarily. Like, he's saying he is going to become that person. He is willing to become that person. And that is kind of sad, but kind of sweet, but gets kind of weird for me later.
And I like how the voice actor handles the jumps, but especially it's like there's this kind of younger intonated male voice telling us that it's like, I'm going to become hard as stone, cold as ice. I am going to become a person who can withstand this. And it's so high school.
I will become a wife guy.
I will become a wife guy. The ultimate form and the commitment. You know what? I approve. It's powerful. I think he did the right thing.
I think he did the right thing. So we go back and she's in her cockpit and she's just texting away. Oh, Nagamine, just texting away.
And again, I
spoiler,
cannot emphasize
aliens are
enough,
here.
this is a 10-key phone, right? Like, this is just...
She's got the T9.
She's on it.
Sure, the
She's
thumbs
got
are going.
skills. The thumbs are going. She one-hands it for a lot of it, too. She's great. I
It's
love her.
powerful.
I am so fascinated by typing I don't know if that's katakana or I am obsessed
That was
with
hiragana, yeah.
with Japanese typing. It's so fascinating and cool looking to me, especially on a phone with one hand. Like, are you joking?
On a Nokia with one hand, it was crazy.
Like, they already basically have T9 on their normal two-hand keyboards because of how the alphabet works. So it's like on the Nokia, I'm like kind of mind blown.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
So we go back to her and suddenly, Tarsian's detected. Launch all fighters. We get a really cool shot of them all launching. Mech moments I love. Launch the mechs.
You know,
Yeah.
So many launch bays.
we love launches around here. I was watching Zeta Gundam last night, and that show has some exceptional launch sequences.
You feel it. Oh, it's so good.
For little weirdos that turn into discs. You're welcome, Nico.
Yeah! Ashimar, I believe in you. See, the Ashimar is also on a time dilation, but it will reach me. Eventually, I believe this.
The Ashmore is in Sirius. It'll take 8 years to get here.
My Ashimar is currently... I just checked the shipping info. Why is it at Pluto?
Oh, shit. Well, I'll be a person who waits for the Ashimar to arrive.
Anyway, these aliens are like...
Let's talk
they're
about the
like-
aliens. Get in it. Let's go.
They look like Shuckle. They look like the Pokemon Shuckle to me a little bit.
They looked a little bit to me like Majora's Mask. Like, the way that they were hanging.
The coloring looks like oil spill.
Well, you
Yeah.
find out that, like, they're wearing something, because one of them takes it off later, and it's like this
Yeah.
purple blob with, like, a white blob underneath, and, like, the white blob is wearing the purple blob. It's very strange.
But it also does these freaky branches like veins when it
Freaky
starts to
branches.
try to
It also
encircle
has
her.
eyes, which it reveals to you later also.
It feels
they're
very Ava.
strange.
It reminded
They're
me a little
angels.
bit.
They're straight angels.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of the one that falls from the sky that they have to try to catch.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has an eye. she kills 2 right out, hesitates on the 3rd. It encages her and looks at her.
I have a lot of questions about drafting middle schoolers, but apparently great pick. Like she's capping people.
She is ice fucking cold.
She mentions a couple of times how she's like ranked very, very high at school and ranked very, very high in the military as just like offhand lines, and boy, they pay off.
I can't imagine if I had gotten like an exceptional AP score and the military had just rolled up on me.
She didn't get straight A's, she got straight MWs.
She got straight MWs. Let's go.
For Mad Margarita.
Oh, I thought it was Modern Warfare.
No.
So they wipe him out, and then the enemy fleet. The whole enemy fleet appears, and they decide, we can't win this one. We're warping out of our own solar system to get away from this. So
immediately.
They're like, everybody come back. You got to get in the ship because we're about to jump out of here. And her priority... I gotta text my boy.
She has got to send one last text message. This
one last text
fucking slaps. It's so
fucking good.
This is when you find out
She
there's
doesn't
0
stop
G
fighting.
or something. There's like variable G inside the cockpit because the phone has just ended up elsewhere. And she's like, I've got to kill an alien. I've got to get back to the ship. And I've got to get my fucking Nokia where it's just bipping around in my cockpit.
Her mech gets shocked, paralyzed. She's shooting people and just running and just trying to send this text message.
Beam saber, she cuts one in half.
The beam saber rips. I had a hard time looking at some of this stuff. But when it comes down to like when she's scrambling around having like an Asuka moment, it actually looks pretty cool. It's when she's shooting missiles and the missiles are like shooting, like have like blocks of gray smoke behind them that look like caterpillars. And it's like some like ruby shit.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's like, I was like, man, what the fuck? And then I saw this was made in 2002, and then I saw it was made by one guy, and
I was about to say, like, I talk mad shit. I don't even know how to launch Blender, so I don't even know how to click on Blender.
So she doesn't get the text off, and this is where the time dilation starts. So they jump out to deep space. They don't know how to get back to Earth, so they're going to jump to a close star system. The Sirius system.
This was so funny to me. What do you mean they don't know how to get back to Earth? I feel like that's the problem you solved minute 1 when you decide to launch a ship from Earth.
Yeah, that is so weird to me.
It's like I mean, warp technology.
I assumed it was
right?
something because of the Tarsians, but
I just assumed they blind warped, which you should never do.
Or it's like in the Martian where it's like they have to figure out because shit moves. Like Earth is in a different spot, and
oh no.
So
that would make more sense to me.
Yeah.
We're doing some heavy lifting for this movie that the movie does not give a shit about, and
No, and it's okay for it to not give a shit about that, but
fine.
it is something that's interesting to think about because they're like, we haven't found our way back to Earth yet. I'm like,
we have got to put as many middle schoolers into launch tubes as we can and launch them at who the fuck knows where as fast as possible. It's important for
it's
defense.
important.
It's very important. They're basically like, we got to jump even farther away. So she sends one last text message that will only be a year delayed, which shout out to these Nokias. They can calculate the time dilation from where you're at to where you're sending it.
Awesome.
I'm saying
How long is it going to take?
Cool fucking software on a piece of hardware that is indestructible. The world if.
That like weird, what is it, dot matrix fucking Nokia screen, and it just says like, you are this many light years away from, like, wow.
I love it.
So cool looking. It's so good.
Right. So we need to talk about Noboru. So
Do we?
we go back to Noboru, and
He
we
like
get this
lives a normal anime life.
banger ass line, which is, it was the winter of last year that I quit waiting for mail from Mikako. He uses her first name, which is big in Japan. He's like, I'm not waiting for her anymore. We get the one other NPC, which is a girl he gives his umbrella to and leaves behind.
Umbrella thief. No, I'm kidding. No, it's clearly given to her, but I just like the idea that it's like, I got mugged.
So he gets the text message about how they're basically like lovers sending snail mail, which is very cute.
Yeah. But you can already feel, because there is that bittersweetness, and there's also that like wartime feeling where it's like, you're sending letters, typically it's people writing from the home front sending letters they don't know are ever going to be received. And it's like, this is a person writing back from the war, like, I don't know if you're ever going to get this. And I'm writing text messages like every 10 minutes, but you're getting
I don't know if I'm going to like live past tomorrow at the time of writing this either. Like that's also a tone that you're going to get in a letter like that.
Yeah. And there's like an echo here because he gives his umbrella to this one chick. And so he gets waylaid in the same kind of bus stop. And so it's this echo of this moment that they had before, but of course she's not physically there.
Yeah.
So they go to a hospitable planet in the Sirius system, Agatha. And they're
Yeah,
just
it's like
kinda-
Agartha.
We get some pretty good porn shots of them exploring Agartha and Mechs, like stomping on grass.
Yeah, this reminded me of like every aesthetic anime photo set. This dude just likes drawing backgrounds, and he's good at it.
These are so gorgeous. When her mech leaves the big footprint and then it fills with rainwater.
Yeah.
Mwah,
Yes.
beautiful.
And she's sad because
And it's so funny. It's rain is a motif throughout this, but also just like in the very beginning, she was like disconnected, dissociated, however you want to put it. Like she was out of herself and her body in her present situation. And like that never stops when she leaves Earth. And so it's this really interesting thing of you're seeing this nature all around her, literally in her 360 view. And none of it can touch her. And she talks about that. It's like, I can't feel the rain. I can't feel cold. She can see everything.
I just want to go out and feel the rain because she'd been in the rain with Noboru, but this is a poisonous planet. Like, she can't live here. She can't leave her mech.
Yeah, and it looks totally empty. It's weirdly Earth-like, and it looks totally empty until it isn't.
By the way, the Tarsians, much like the Viet Cong, tunnel very well.
Oh, Alice.
So she's just walking around, and we said, oh, okay, can we talk about the alien mindfuckery that happens to her?
Yeah, that was super weird. I really liked that. The alien
liked that a lot.
tries to initiate first contact, basically.
So
that isn't murder.
She's sad, she's crying, and she gets met by her younger self and sees flashbacks of her memories, which we can all assume what an alien is doing when you suddenly have those thoughts. And then she sees her younger self and starts talking to her. And we get a couple glimpses, but it's an alien mimicking her younger self and trying to talk to her.
Super cool.
And that's when we see that.
I
the
thought it was
Tarsians live here.
interesting. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that it was her younger self and not Noboru. Like, so if it pulled something from her mind, it didn't just grant her wish of him being there. It, like, pulled from her. I thought that was an interesting thing.
I also thought it was interesting that, like, because in this moment she's kind of having a little bit of a meltdown because she wants to be with her BF.
Actually, I want to go back. I was wrong. It's not her younger self. I'm completely incorrect. It's her older self. You can tell this by a couple of things. She is wearing lipstick, and she has a wedding ring on.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay, I thought it was her younger self.
I thought it was her younger self, too. The outfit looked like a nightie, like a little girl nightie to me, so I just wasn't sure.
With like a collar, the sailor collar. I guess that makes sense. It's her trying to project, like, because at the Sirius system now, the delay is 8 years. So the Noboru who she's texting is going to be 24.
Yeah.
Like, it's a huge jump. So she's projecting herself at 24.
Greatest text message in this whole movie.
Yeah.
Hello to the 24-year-old Noboru.
This is what I was going to say.
The 15-year-old.
She has this extremely high emotional moment where she's like, I want to feel the rain. I want to hear rain against an umbrella. I want to be in the rain with my boyfriend. I want to, experience life with him. And then she reaches for her phone and she sends, like, hey, you up? Like, it was so funny to me. But yeah, I
love the exact phrasing of, hey, I know that you're now older than me from time dilation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Now that you've pointed it out, that adds a totally new dimension because it is wish fulfillment. It's like, hey, this is you if you'd lived the life that you wanted to live.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, alien, you didn't have to come for her like that.
Well, and then but the alien's also telling her, like, hey, isn't it cool that you're, like, out here farther than any human has ever even thought about, like, visualizing ever?
And there are so many other places for you to go.
Yeah.
It literally says, like, think of the galaxies you will see. And she's like, I just want to go back and tell Noboru I love him.
If she had not been so fucking fixated on this guy, she could have had an alien girlfriend. Is all I took from this scene.
Damn, I didn't even slightly think about that. That's
a Yuri soldier's work is never done.
I'm not signing up for that.
Alice, you're in the trenches next to me and pretending you don't see me. Alice is in the muddy World War I trench holding up the sad letter from home between us so that she doesn't see me.
Alice is shell-shocked.
You're like crouched over posting on Tumblr and you're like, I'm also helping. And I'm up there just like shooting down Yao boys and just like They've got such big hands. Help me pick
They're
up a
blocking the
rifle.
bullets with their hands.
You've painted such a grim picture of the world where the Yowie boys are our enemies and not our closest allies.
They were always our enemies.
No!
Fujoshi, you're on watch.
Anyway, what the fuck happens in this fucking movie?
So
That's basically it, is the thing.
no, we're not done yet.
No,
still
we gotta
have
go through a
about
battle.
7 more minutes, okay?
Oh, right, the battle. Okay, this battle was sick.
Brian, don't rush to 7
Okay,
minutes.
I do want to say, so this is when this becomes Mech. This is,
Yes.
so she starts to get a bunch of warnings and the VO is telling her, oh my god, they're fucking everywhere. We've got to
It's so
fight.
funny. They pan out, and all of their cities are apparently built in holes.
So
Like
Yeah.
Alice said, in the tunnels, and I just... They're so populous looking, and the only aliens we see are these weird floating blobs, and I'm like, I don't know how these images go together, but okay.
So there's some peak Mech. So she's standing on this chasm because the aliens build their cities in giant
In burrows. They just build them in
burrow.
big holes.
big ass holes in the ground, canyons and the such. And she looks up and gets a warning that they have fired from one of the spaceships a laser, and she just fucking skips out as it hits. Giant, huge explosion, and she lands on another hill, just barely missing it.
God's perfect anime girl. This is what they were testing for.
She's ice cold. This rips.
And so she starts to fight, kills a bunch of people. Sorry, a bunch of alien scum. And then,
Gets her arm ripped off.
then we cut back to our last Noboru scene. Well, before we do our little interlude at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to Noboru, who is now the 24-year-old Noboru. He lives alone, and he has joined the United Nations Space Navy.
Yeah, he's joining what, the Admiralty?
He has an admiral uniform, and yeah, he's joining the Admiralty. And there's a bunch of little lore drops, but he's basically like, I worked towards this. Like, I want to go out there and follow her.
Yeah, I like that implication that it's like he's chasing, even though like the person that she is will never be. There's a lot of magazines around the apartment that are speculating on the fate of the Lysithia. Everyone is speculating. It's like, okay, at this point, it's probably been destroyed. At this point, we haven't heard anything and all this stuff. And so it's like he's chasing something that he doesn't even know is going to be there. It's, again, bittersweet is definitely the feeling.
Wait, sorry, I want to clarify something. I'm trying to read a subtitle because I think they know that the serious people won in this. I'm trying to verify.
I don't think so. I thought it was
Battle
speculation.
at Sirius 8 years ago. Victory is the headline.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't catch the victory. I caught them. I thought they were just speculating on the state of the ship. Okay.
But yeah, it's basically him being like, when I was younger, the thought of waiting 8 years to see her again was eternal.
Yeah.
But I set a goal for myself. But I haven't stopped living my life. I'm just working towards the goal of going to see her. I think it's cute as fuck.
I thought that was it. And again, like the voice actor really knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, he's good.
Because you can hear the maturity.
Yeah, he really, through the ages, sells the voice. I do want to just throw a red flag chasing after a 15-year-old in your 20s.
Oh my God.
Well, the problem is, like, you can never undo that time dilation. Time dilation can't reverse like that. And it ends with him getting her text message because it's been 8 years. And he hasn't had a text message from her in 8 years, but he's been working towards this goal. And then we get 5 uninterrupted minutes of my girl absolutely wrecking shit. Interspersed with scenes of him walking through a snowy, rainy Tokyo. And she's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be out here. I don't want to be doing this. I just want to go back to Tokyo where Noboru was, where things I knew were, where I could feel the snow, the rain, and all
She
these
said,
other
my
weathers."
hands look like this, gripping mech controls, so his hands can look like this, cold as fuck, having a normal walk in Tokyo.
Legit.
And we get the most anime-ass moment where the human fleet is losing and she goes full shonen warrior.
She goes out there alone in front
She
of
comes back as Gunbuster and
She has a full moment.
absolutely
One
wrecks.
arm.
One arm, gets the biggest sword you've ever fucking seen and cleaves the enemy fleet in twain. And then it just
full
ends
fleet.
with her floating in her cockpit as her suit just floats through space, crying. And it just and they're just like, hey, I'm here. And they do a little voiceover duo.
But they're like, again, bittersweet tears because she's made this proclamation that they're always going to be connected.
They talk about it's them talking and coming to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
Which is even if our text messages are dilated and we're not in the same time space continuum pretty much, like we're connected. That can never go away.
It's I love that they're like talking over and through each other, but saying the same things. I thought it was super, super exceptional. I do want to shout out, there's a moment where the Lysithia does a full barrage of homing lasers.
Opens the laser cannons.
It's so dope. It looks so good. That's going to get me every time. I love it so much.
Where they angle. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This Gunbuster walked so this could run, etc. Or maybe this stumbled. Gunbuster ran so this could stumble.
Gunbuster walked so that this could kind of do a little hop, skip, and a jump and then be done with it. And that, you know what? I respect it for that.
Couple things. So something from this is you get the theme in all of his other movies, which is about people who won't just actually tell the person that they like them. Instead, they go through supernatural journeys before coming to that conclusion, whether that be turning into a chair or whether that be being, I was about to spoil your name, trading bodies with the person you're into, you know?
Yeah, it's about distance and like miscommunication and not connecting. Like, you have a connection, but not being able to articulate it.
Near miss.
Through whatever reason. And I think that's so interesting, especially just... he recorded the VA with his fiance, and like that's such an interesting thing for him to be preoccupied with, especially given that he had that commitment at the time. But like, I don't know. I think that's a really cool thing to just keep exploring over and over in different contexts because it is a universal human experience.
And it's such there's such like longing in like the near miss. I mean, because weirdly enough, I think of Cowboy Bebop, right? Because when you think back on your experience of that show, it's so much about them as a crew on the ship together. They don't spend that much time together.
No.
There's like 2 episodes where they're all on the ship at the same time. And it's just like, there's something really, really profoundly lonely, but also like the fact that we're able to extract that from it is also sort of heartwarming. So that was what it reminded me of.
Yeah. And so he made another movie a while after this one called 5 centimeters per second, which same exact premise. She's sent into space, texts back, but a very good version of this. Brian, you might have seen it, and that's why my mind's eye gets these two crossed. And like I see the visuals of 5 centimeters per second versus this. But yeah, I will say one thing. I just need him to actually have the meat at the end because I'm kind of fucking tired of every one of his movies cutting at the end before they reunite. It's a little fucking annoying, bud. Okay?
I think it was a Disco Elysium designer who said it was like, it's the unfulfilled desire that is the most poignant or something like that. It's like, sorry, Alice, he's being poignant on your ass. No, I was thinking a lot. I recently read a book called How High We Go in the Dark. I forget the author on that, but it was a recent release. It's definitely a COVID-influenced novel. And so, of course, it's dealing a lot with distance. And one of the things, because it's a speculative fiction novel.
Sequoia Nagamatsu is the author on that, by the way.
Yeah.
Banger name.
It's dealing with distance both. Yeah, it is a really great name. It's dealing with distance both between people, but also like, because it's a speculative fiction novel, at one point they do have an expedition that can travel faster than light, and they end up like 6,000 years displaced from Earth. And they're still sending messages, but it's very much with this. It almost echoes that, like, hey, to the 24-year-old Noboru from 15-year-old, like, you're acknowledging that the people that you're reaching out to are going to be different, but you still want to have that connection to them because you come from the same place and you had that connection at the same time. So I kept thinking about that, like how extreme the dilation could get and to what degree you still want to send, even if it's just like a message in a bottle thrown in the ocean, like you still want to put something out there. I don't know. I love that kind of theme. And so I really enjoyed my time with this.
Don't you guys think that this retroactively makes...
Read the Forever War, Nico.
Yeah, I've
I had never even heard of that before that other episode, but it might be fun.
Mr. Haldeman, I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry for having simply not experienced a media, but I will maybe think about reading it.
Oh, you should be.
I am. I'm constantly self-flagellating. I open Netflix and just beat my own ass to death.
I do beat my ass for media I have consumed. Let me tell you about Priceless Smiles Part 3.
Oh my god. No, but don't you guys think this retroactively not repaints, but I was just thinking about at the end of Gunbuster when they spell out Welcome Home.
Yes.
I feel like it's twice as heart-wrenching to think about that after watching this movie, Philip.
Yeah. Because it really... There's a piece of writing advice.
That's what Alice wants from this guy that he won't give her.
Yeah, the welcome home with the message written on it.
Yeah.
No, there's a common piece of writing advice that's like, if you want to write about something big like war, you need to write about something small, like in Mulan, like the burned doll that Mulan finds.
Yeah.
Like, you have to write about something small, because if you try to write about the big thing, you're just not going to be able to capture it.
Oh, Mulan is about the transgender identity.
Yeah, and the burned doll. No, I'm kidding. But like, yeah, if you want to write about something big, you have to write about something small. And so if you want to write about human loneliness and the fear of isolation, you have to write about two teenagers who part ways in an extreme way. Like, you have to write about this one human relationship, right? And I love things that focus in on that. And I love, again, my favorite detail about that Gunbuster scene is that the katakana the final character, is backwards, because they had the spirit and they did what they could, but they did get the character wrong because it's been so long. But like, the love and the care put into that, it demonstrates that the society changed, but they still cared enough to try. And do you ever just feel good about humanity sometimes?
Sometimes a little bit.
So I think in media like this, that anytime you have space travel, right? Like, we can go into hard sci-fi and everything, but I think, and in this media, the fact that they use folded space, that's always kind of the cop-out of, we don't want to address that issue of the difference in how far away they are from each other.
Yeah.
By just being like, oh, they jumped, they warped. So she is still 15, she has not aged, but the time dilation is not from that jump taking a bunch of time like it was in Gunbuster. They were flying, right?
Yeah.
But they jumped, so she is younger. The reason it's taking so long is because they are light years away and the data doesn't come.
Yeah.
One last thing that I want to talk about in this that I think kind of is my favorite part of this is when he finally gets her text message that she sent from the Sirius system that took 8 years to arrive. It just has that intro, hello, the 25-year-old, I'm the 15-year-old. And then he's like, and the rest was just noise, because it didn't transmit that far safely. We don't have the
that was heart-wrenching.
Design. So he didn't get any other message.
I think he said specifically it was 2 sentences and then just a bunch of noise. Like,
yeah, just
God.
That intro. And I think that is one of the best beats of this movie, and really just sells like their relationship. And do you guys think they get together?
I kind of hope not.
I think they both die very far away from each other, but they're still connected in the important sense and the legal sense, which is spiritually.
We should read the manga.
Oh, God.
No, I was going to say, I think Mikako and him should become new types so they can just transmit their thoughts to each other.
Oh, 100%.
In a homoerotic bubble, psychokinetic space feud.
Brian said simply evolve.
Simply become space wizards. It's not that hard. Tamino wrote literally several books about this.
And if I had the new type ability to like talk to people through my head, I would just send the meanest shit. Like, you're on the shitter and suddenly you get the fear that somebody's gonna shoot you with a space bazooka kind of shit. Like, Char's just like crouched over, like scrubbing his bathroom floor, and suddenly you hear the sound, the and he's like, oh, they're here. It's over. Well, guys, teenage romance is cool and all, but there's something very important we have to do. We have to rate this goddamn mech. So
no, I think you should still say these goddamn mechs.
Okay.
I have a controversial opinion.
Oh.
We gotta rate these. I know what you're about to say. We gotta rate these goddamn mechs. So, Nico.
Oh, that Lysithia's a mech?
No.
I was gonna say the cell phone.
No. I think the purple blob thing, because it comes off the alien at one point, I think that's a mech. I think it's a meat mech. This is my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, you got to make it where you can make it and find it.
Yeah, I'm going to be rating that as well.
Would everybody, Brian, do you think the Lysithia counts?
I mean, I'm going to talk about it in my reasoning, but I don't know that I would say it's a mech.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to at least cover the Tracers, which is the main United Nations battle mech. We're going to cover, I believe, the cell phone counts, much like Atomi's watch. And we're going to cover the Meat Mech alien, which I don't really consider, but I don't know enough about aliens. So I'm just going to go off the tracer. So Brian, 8 years in the future.
To the Brian years in the
mechs.
future. Or Aaron Yeager voice to you 10,000 years in the future. We have to know, we just have to be real within ourselves and stand in our truth. And I just can't, when I say I don't like CGI, I mean I don't like CGI. And this is a 4 for me because while I think that the shape language and the design choices of the tracers are cool, they don't look very good and it's not very satisfying to look at them. And I don't necessarily, when you describe Alpha Zero to me from Hard Reboot, I don't want that thing to get injured. I'm rooting for it in every believable aspect.
Oh yeah.
I kind of liked it when she got her arm cut off because I was like, this thing is ugly and I wanted to see it kind of get a little bit fucked up because that's fun.
Damage, anything, yeah.
And so, but if we're bringing I do think the Lysithia looks pretty cool. Although there are some angles of it late in the thing that are like, is it squat like that? And then it's like, no, it's not. It's just weird CGI. And then the aliens are just they look like, when they have in Reboot, the Canadian CG television show for children, they have this black goop from the internet, from the web called a virus. They look like that.
Do you not have black goop? That was the whole reason we had to have Norton antivirus and shit. That was just in people's houses. Thank you. That was a joke for no one. Thank you for not laughing.
I laughed.
I didn't. And I stand by my truth.
So yeah.
Alice was as silent as God.
I give this one a 4. Like I said, I think that and like I said also on the Price of Smiles Part 2 episode, I will die on the hill that we are really more focused on the mechs versus the media itself on this segment. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is a 4 for me.
Great. Nico, it's me. I'm texting you. It's going to take a while to get there, but how'd you rate these goddamn mechs?
I'm glad you only texted me once. You had a lot of time to be sending me texts that I could be receiving. So after an 8-year wait, I would have a lot to read. But no, you just sent the one every time. Thank you for that.
It was weird that after all of that time and I had to wait many years for a response, it was just LOL. I don't know. Weird. Kind of fucked up on your part.
I just sent a react.
React.
Like I said, initially I was very much like, okay, this looks jank. I don't really, I'll watch it and I recognized, like I said, it had some detailing on the models and everything. You could tell that some thought had gone into the design and you could tell he had worked at a game studio and made a model. But like I said, it reminded me of PS2 Armored Core. You're finally starting to get smooth shapes, but it's still kind of really obviously a computer-generated object, yeah. And initially I was pretty down on it, but when I find out it's one guy who quit his job for 7 months to make this thing, I'm like, I'm not going to demand he do the scenes with CG and then rotoscope them. I think he did really well with what he had.
Yeah.
That factors in for me, and like I said, I like that I actually like that the design reminds me a little bit of video game mechs because it's a little loaded for bear, it's a little much, but I don't like it that much, and so I would have a 4, but I'm bumping this up to a 5 because I believe that the aliens are also piloting mechs, and I think that thing looks jank as fuck. It looks like the first 3D Pokemon game. It's got real fucking Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness energy. I like it. It's freaky. They present you with an alien that looks really alien and with offensive capabilities that look really weird and different from what we have. It gives me the same feeling that the aliens or that the angels give you in Ava. And I like that little bit of design. So for me, this is a 5. It's purely middle of the road. And I think a lot of those points and a lot of my good feeling is because it's an exceptional work by one person, incredible work by one person.
Yeah, legendary.
I don't give a pass to a single person making a media. They can always do better. I'm going to put that out there.
Alex, I could make this podcast better alone.
Here's what I'll say. I love this man's work. I love what he does, but I'm going to judge this purely on the mech because I think I have to try and, as Brian would say, live my truth, which is as much as I love or hate a media, I've had to read books on this podcast, and even through that, I tried so hard to just rate the mechs based on the mechs, even though I had to look up words that had more than 3 syllables. It was violence on me, if I'm being honest. But the mech. I joked the cell phone's a great mech. I'm gonna put it on the website as a mech. You can't fucking stop me.
No, we can't. Alice controls the web zone.
The meat mech, I've seen better CGI alien mechs before this in the time and after this in the time. I think it's okay for what it is. But the tracer itself, it is. I love a generic guy mech. I love just a main battle tank mech that is just
Alice
so
loves to walk onto a car lot and see 1,000 navy blue, white, gray, and black cars. Alice just starts crying in joy.
Not even blue. It needs to be a gray Toyota 4-door because those are the most stolen cars in America. Anyway, so all that to say, these mechs don't stand out. They have some color on them, and that's just like the screen. The booster packs it's nothing new in the time that this was made. The weapons, dumbest missiles in the world. It's 2046. We have spacefaring technology. We have laser guns, and the missiles, she fires like 8 missiles to take down 2 enemies. Inefficient. Mm-hmm. They have space battle lasers. The mech itself, it's so very generic. It's so painfully generic. I don't actually like the mech. I like the cockpit-ish. I like what they do with it, with that space, but I can't just say, oh, the cockpit was cool, I like this. Because
I think you're making a really good point there. Like, the main ship had a weird design to it. The United Nations ship had, like, this weird organic design, and that uniqueness just isn't present in the mech at all. It's not present,
especially because, like, the United Navy ship mimics the Tharsian ship because they stole the technology. But our mechs don't mimic their aliens. We made them look like us. We could have made them look like anything. We made them look like us, and then we put a teenage girl in a Seifuku. What?
Alice quoting. I thought you were just like, you were grabbing your shirt. I was just like, Alice is just like, I love this quote from my shirt.
Yeah,
this is the media source.
Well, you guys were telling it to me the whole time, and now you got me a shirt that says, we could have made him look like anything, and we made him look like us. So thank you for the shirt, guys. Anyway, all this to say, it would have been a 1 for me because of how plainly generic this mech is and how we really don't get to see any greatness from this mech. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to bump it up a 2 because it's a great cockpit and a good phone.
Got it.
And you don't want it to be on Jivo levels.
No, I think it deserves to be on Jivo levels because at least the mechs in that were cool. So, sorry, guys.
Savage.
I'm rating it on the mechs. Anyway, that was Voices of a Distant Star. When we come back, we're going to have ourselves a little game. Let's go to the break.
Hey guys, Alice here. So, On the Shoulders of Giants is a brand new podcast. We're still getting ourselves started. So, if you like what you're hearing and kind of want to hear more of it, maybe leave a 5-star review on your podcasting app of choice, especially if you're on Apple, because that would really help us out. And if you know anybody who might like mechs, point them in our direction. We'd love to hear from them, and, maybe they'll like what we're giving out there. Again, if you like us, leave us a note, send us a message, leave us a review. Just, interact with us. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, let's go back to the episode.
Welcome back from the break. It's been so long since I've seen you. I joined the United Nations Army. It couldn't hold me back. 7 Nation Army? Anyway, welcome back from the break. We're going to play a goddamn game. Because we already rated the goddamn mechs.
Yep.
Okay. So the name of this game is Mobile Phone Plans for a Distant Star. So one of the important things that happened in this was cell phones. Just to give you kind of a brief history on Japanese cell phones, they are on their own whole little world with cell phones. They kept flip phones and still have flip phones. They prefer touch keys. Smartphones really didn't take off in Japan until the 2010s. And so they still have and are making new flip phones and making new like Nokia brick phones. It's still a big thing in Japan. So that's just the encapsulating the history of Japanese phones and why they're very unique, right? So we're going to talk about Japanese cell phones in so many ways. I'm now going to read you the copy I wrote. Texting your love interest is hard, especially when they're multiple light years away. That's you two, want to make sure that the cell phone that you're taking into space is a good one. So let's pick one out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to list out the name and model number of a current Japanese cell phone that you could buy on the internet right now. You'd have to get it unlocked to use it in your region unless you live in Japan, because Japan is a locked region. Anyway, then I'm going to give you a choice, an option between two different Japanese cell phone carriers. There are very few Japanese cell phone carriers, and they have their own locked-in versions of these phones. So,
oh my God.
If you want a certain phone, you got to go to a certain carrier. So I'm going to give you a choice between those two cell phone providers. You have to pick between them to get the point. If you get it right, you get a point, and, that's great. Now, for each round, however, there is a secret third option that you get this phone only on a Tarsian phone plan, because that phone doesn't exist in our timeline. Okay? So in actuality, you'll have three options: 2 Japanese cell phone carriers and 1 Tarsian option. They're kind of hidden in there. You can't really tell. They've taken the vision of a Nokia 9200, but wearing a wedding ring and looking happy.
Alice, this is the most baffling, buck wild fucking game you've brought to us yet. Okay, let's go to the fucking cell phone store.
I had to make a game for a 25-minute OVA about 1 mech, 1 alien, 2 people, and cell phones. I went with the cell phones.
You could have made us go to that one website where you can send yourself messages in the future and write a letter to ourselves in 8 years.
I thought about it, and I was like, I wish I had asked them to write letters to our future pod selves when we were first thinking of this, and then brought them out right now. But we can.
Yeah, that would have been
a
really good follow through for something we hadn't planned.
Does this all kind of make sense to you? Sorry, it's convoluted. I'm forcing you to play it. I am the jigsaw of this universe. Brian, you in?
I'm in. I'm probably gonna guess because I don't.
We are
know
100% guessing. I don't know jack shit about phones.
Oh, like most games I bring to this show, it's just a guessing game. So I will say a lot of the model numbers kind of give you an idea, maybe, just to give you a little hint. But
Alice,
and
hint for the listener, Alice is a milsim nerd, and so Alice thinks serial numbers provide way more information to the average person than...
You guys not?
The average person probably gets from...
Are you just describing these phones to us, or are you posting them?
I'm giving you the
name and the model number.
Oh, okay, got it.
Vibes only.
Because I'm gonna level with you, if I show you the photo, you're... Well, actually, wait.
There are no of the Tarsian.
One sec. Oh.
There's none of the Tarsian, Alice.
Oh,
You'd ruin your own game.
But you wouldn't know that. I could just show you a random Japanese cell phone.
Well, Alice, I think this is a lot to do
idea.
last minute. Oh my God.
Nope, because I went to one specific website for this. So this will actually be easy to do on the fly.
I'm glad that you came up with a game that didn't have any visuals for our podcast, which is an audio product. And you're like, wait, hold on. I can get visuals for this.
I'm just trying to make sure that it doesn't have any name on it.
Yeah.
First one is the SoftBank 601SH Aquos Keitai 2.
Oh, this thing fucks.
This thing does fuck. This color is gorgeous.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
You get this phone from the Japanese phone service provider Docomo, the Japanese phone provider Sharp, or is this a Tarsian cell phone? Brian, you're up first.
What was the first option?
Docomo.
That's what I'm going for. I like that name. I like this color. Damn.
Nico, you're up to steal. Was this a Sharp or a Tarsian Spy?
I think this is a Tarsian Spy. It's too cool.
This is available from Sharp.
I like how Alice is... we've joked a lot about Bandai sponsorships. Is Alice trying to secure us a Japanese phone company sponsorship?
Even if she is, we can't lie and pretend this phone isn't sexy as fuck.
Bro.
It's really beautiful. For the listener, this is like a... Oh God, what do I even do? It looks like the Nintendo's DS of phones. It's like got beautiful rounded corners.
Imagine the clat you could get with this long woman.
It's so long, you could get a really good clat out of it.
Bitch, what? Clat!
Oh my God, it is just really beautiful. The pictures will be up on our website. It's this lovely shade of aqua. The keys are the same color. Just the aesthetics are on point. There's like a iPhone wheel sort of at the top.
We have to go back. To flip phones.
It's got like a beautiful brushed pivot hinge. Like, oh my God.
This is porn. Okay, what's next?
These are mechs.
So the next one is the Fujitsu F03E Arrow's Kiss.
Egg. Arrow's Kiss?
God damn, they really be naming cellular phones.
Nico, is this available from Docomo, Sharp, or is it a Tarsian?
Is it always going to be Docomo and Sharp and Tarsian?
No, this is just the first few questions, so I'm warming you up.
Okay. I think it's Tarsian. I think it's the egg. I think an alien comes out of this.
Brian, you up to steal.
I would have guessed fucking Tarsian too. Look at that thing. I want a purple phone case to put on that.
Give me a purple phone case on that, bitch.
On that bed. I'm going to say I'm holding it down for Doc.
Brian is correct. That is a Docomo phone.
Docophone.
Shoutouts to Docomo. Not yet sponsors of the show, but maybe.
I'm working on it. So next up is the 701 Digno Keitai 2 Tough. Is this from Kyocera, Docomo, or is it a Tarsian spy?
These phones are just good looking.
They're a little good looking. This guy is so square. There's so many squares. This is a Minecraft phone. I'm going to go with Kyocera. That was one of the options, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You said Kyocera?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That is correct.
I had a Kyocera. Back in like 2004. Damn.
Damn right you did.
No. It was 29. It was 2009. Sorry, I had to go into the Mind Palace for that one.
It was 2009. I had a Kyocera in my cold grip.
I had to flash back to a vivid memory of being at SakuraCon.
I was just about to say, I loved Sasuke Uchiha so much. I was just about to say that.
I had a Kyocera phone. Alice, this game is bittersweet.
I'm sorry to do this to you. Nico, you're up.
Yes.
The 690 Samurai Kiwawa 2 Deca Core. Because it has 10 cores.
Oh, this is a fucking smartphone.
This is a clatless phone.
This is a fake bitch.
Is this a Freetel?
This is a Tarsian spy. This is a Tarsian spy.
It was a Tarsian spy.
Yes! I knew it, you fake bitch. You're ugly. It's a normal looking smartphone. For the listener at home, this is a normal looking smartphone.
That brings us back around to it, Brian. The AU-KDDI HF33 Aquos K3.
I feel like we're on the Gundam. Oh!
Damn! Yo!
Is this Kyocera, Sharp, or a Tarsian spy?
This motherfucker looks like a luxury cigarette case. It comes in like British racing green. It's so beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
It comes in a champagne, a navy blue, and like this gorgeous emerald green. What the fuck are we doing in America?
We have to go back.
You don't even see the color of iPhones because they got fucking cases on them. Jesus.
Nico just flashed her case that looks like a cassette tape.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Sharp because they look sharp. They look like the space cars in Cyberpunk.
Your brain.
That is a Sharp phone.
Your mind.
All right, next one. Nico?
Yes.
The Mode 1 Retro 2 Flip. Is this made by or available through Freetel?
It's got leather on it!
Docomo? Or is it a Tarsian spy? Also, please note
it has a rotary!
Yeah, the rotary.
It has a rotary and a lens that looks like an actual, like, film camera.
This is a spy phone. This is, you know who has this phone? That guy from Big O.
Roger? Roger has this phone?
I'm sorry, Alice. I blacked out while you were giving me the options. Can I please get the phone providers again?
Freetel, Kyocera, or Tarsian spy?
I'm going to go with Freetel. Yeah.
That is incorrect. Brian, Kyocera or Tarsian spy?
You know that he sent Dorothy, which, by the way, Alice moment, I remember the maid's name, but not the main character's name in Big O, down to the Kyocera store to get himself that phone.
Update. I was looking at the wrong answers. Nico is correct. It is a Freetel phone. Shit. I'm so sorry.
That's so fucking funny. Listen, all is forgiven. I need the listener to know this bitch has red accents and red stitching. The phone has stitching. we've done everything wrong.
We've done everything wrong. It's got a red like racing stripe down the middle. It looks like, you know, the video game Rollerdrome? It looks like the video game Rollerdrome. It's so unbelievably badass. We have to go back.
I was like, Alice, I don't know where you're going with this game. I don't know how successful. I'm so happy you've just gotten to show me cell phones.
Bruh.
You're so welcome. You are so welcome. Anyway, Brian.
Yeah.
The G's one, that's G apostrophe Z, capital O and E, type XX.
Oh my God.
Oh no, this is the Crocs of cell phones. This
it looks like a walkie-talkie.
This is the fucking sports sandal of cell phones, girls.
This goes in a holster on a belt.
This goes in a holster on a belt. A belt that is securing, a braided belt that is securing khaki cargo pants with a t-shirt tucked into them.
That is so specific.
This is the kind of visual description.
But listeners, go to osgpod.com and tell me I'm wrong about this particular image.
But it does also come in lime green, so some crimes are forgiven.
This looks like the Timexes you used to get at Target.
Yes, it does.
So Brian, is this available from Freetel, Kyocera, or is it a Tarsian Croc Spy?
This, I have to say Freetel because that sounds like the dollar store cell phone brand to me.
Because they're called free.
Yeah. Damn.
Incorrect. Nico, is this from Kyocera or is this a Crocky Spy?
I think that this is a Tarsian Spy. I think they made it rugged to survive the cold vacuum of space.
It's available from Kyocera.
Kyocera, no.
You know, if she had let go of this thing in her cockpit, it would have broken 10 displays that bounce around.
It looks heavy.
It's like a hard case.
Yeah.
Throw that shit around. Oh my God. All right. Next round. Nico, right? Yep.
Yes.
This one is the 420R Sakura 3 Info Bar Tough.
Nice.
Info bar.
Nice.
It's the Info Bar Tough.
That shit looks like a tampon.
I'm obsessed with this thing.
It looks like a battery is about to.
It's first generation iPod Shuffle Core.
It looks like a half-solved Sudoku.
Oh my God, it does. This object, it is not a flip phone, so some points off, but it is still a phone with a 10 key keyboard.
It looks like a soundbar remote.
It does. It's got this weird little bevel and it comes in navy blue, red, and pink, and it has the keys are white, but they're odd keys, they're randomly chosen keys, so it kind of almost looks like a crossword as well. I want a little phone like this.
It looks like a little box of gum.
It would make it hard for me to get to posts, and that's a net good.
Have you seen the new dumb phones? The off the grid phones? I'm this close to switching. This close.
I have thought about it frequently, but unfortunately I like posting on tumblr.com too much, unfortunately.
osgpod.tumblr.com.
Yeah, you can stop that whenever you want.
Yeah.
Brian never not plugging so good.
That's the social media manager. That's why we pay him nothing.
That's why we pay you nothing, Brian. You're so good at it. Is this made by Kyocera, Docomo, or is it a Tarsian sexy little spy? Sudoku Spy.
I choose to believe that this is Docomo. At it again.
It's not a Docomo. Brian, is this a Kyocera? Or is this a Tarsian Spy?
I think that this is too good to be true. I think it's a Tarsian Spy.
That is correct. This is not actually.
Damn!
I got killed. I got killed.
Nika, you almost got it because I heard your recognition at the 420.
Oh, see, I just thought the world was funny.
Oh, I just said nice a bunch when I heard that.
Great. All right, Brian,
nice,
back to you.
Nice.
The 42C Digno K-Tai R.
This is more of a normal phone. It still looks good.
I wanted a normalish one on here, it's important
It's
to have
got the little
normalish.
dot matrix clock on the front. I like her about that.
I do like that. It's like a little sexy stripe. It comes in red, black, and white.
Mm-hmm.
Good ass phone.
And these colors are explosive maroon and noir, and then it's grandma's couch.
Grandma's couch.
What are the options for whom?
Is this a Kyocera, a Docomo, or a dirty Tarsian Spy?
It's way too swagless to be a Docomo. I'm going to go Kyocera.
That is correct. It is way too swagless to be a Docomo.
I can't believe we now have like thoughts and opinions about Japanese phone carriers.
That's what I'm here to do. Sorry, the last one, there is not a photo of it without a label, so I'm doing the covering part real quick. Sorry.
It's worth it to me now.
Quickly, I do want to take the opportunity to say I was baffled by this game, and I'm so glad it happened. I love these janky phones so much.
These phones are so good. This is literally doing something to my brain where I want to get a flip phone. Like this is an old ass iPhone. It's an iPhone 7 Plus. I've been thinking about like in the next year I'm going to need to replace it. And maybe it's going to be a flip phone I get unlocked from Japan with a Japanese T9 keyboard.
Docomo hit me up. I apparently am selling units overseas.
Units.
Pushing units. All right, Nico, last question. The SO04E Hatsune Miku Limited Edition Xperia.
This is unbelievable.
Oh.
How is this not your phone, Alice?
It's a regular smartphone, but I have nothing but respect for Miku. So I feel normal about this one. It's fine.
In love with you when I saw this, I legitimately started budgeting buying an unlocked version. Because I was like, why the fuck not get an Xperia from overseas that's Hatsune Miku themed?
Don't Xperias run Windows Phone, though?
I have a confession. I loved Windows Phone.
Oh my god. Well, here's what I'll say about this phone. Because it is a normal smartphone that just happens to have like Hatsune Miku theming, you could just get this as a case. I'm gonna level with you. There's nothing on the front that's specially Hatsune Miku other than the art that they have as the lock screen.
You don't know if there's like weird little OS tiddly. Oh, I guess if it's running.
We're playing
Windows.
the game. We'll talk about the phone in a second. Is this from Sharp, Docomo, or a Hatsune Miku Tarsian Spy?
I'm gonna go with Sharp.
It's not a Sharp. Brian, is this a Docomo or a Miku Hatsune Spy?
Did they send her to infiltrate us?
I want to believe that Docomo would do this before the Tarsians did. I want to believe that Docomo won the Hatsune Miku moon race. I think I'm going to say Docomo.
You're correct.
Yeah!
We don't have to calculate points. Brian cleaned house. Sorry,
I'm
Nico.
so fucking gangster at cellular telephones.
Now, also, let's click in. So the Hatsune Miku does come with its own Hatsune Miku OS.
Oh my god. Okay, never mind.
Avatar to go with it.
Oh my god.
Miku, find a Vocaloid P player. Miku designed battery and signal sensor display. Miku downloader. The Miku weather
so you can
widgets.
get hot, fresh Mikus off the dark web.
It also comes with Hatsune Miku headphones, so you can listen to all your favorite Vocaloid sounds.
Okay, this kind of whips, but not for $500.
How much are you going to spend on a phone? What do you think phones cost?
$500 for a phone is so nothing.
Alice, thank you for bringing this game. I got my fucking ass beat at it, but I got to look at a lot of really great phones.
See, I've been looking at these for far too long to prepare for this game, and I'm just like, I feel like I would be queen of weebs if I showed up with a Sakura pink Japanese unlocked cell phone with the hiragana on the keys. I just feel like
Edward Said would have to write a new book about you specifically, but that's a joke for our post-colonial fans.
Fans of post-colonialism?
Yeah, the fandom. Brian's in it.
That one was for the wretched of the earth.
Brian, are you pro or against?
Pick a side.
I'm not going to answer that because I spent my college career writing a fucking 1,000,000-page paper answering that.
Oh shit! Sorry guys, I just got a text message. I just gotta check it real quick.
How old is it?
Yeah, if you could read this text message I just received.
Oh, okay. Wow, I'm really impressed that they wrote this on a Nokia. Dear OSG Pod, I'm a randomly drafted soldier in a space war that's subjecting my squad to time dilation. The little Japanese girl next to me seems to have an intense emotional connection to someone she's texting, even as we get further and further away. And I'm a little jealous. How would you recommend I find a person to subject to emotional torment via time dilation? Do you think I could get someone obsessed with me via a language learning pen pal site before the next jump? Thanks. Bored in the Mech Bay.
Thank you so much for writing in. I just want to come up from the top. If it's not your childhood friend, you're kind of fucked, just right off the bat. So there's two ways to get a forlorn lover as a mech pilot. You either grow up together in some way or have some relation that way, or they appear at about episode 3 or 4 and kind of throw everything out the window and are kind of, changing what's going on, maybe chapter 7 or 8. Unfortunately, you don't have much time. We're not getting a full 12 episodes out of this. So I think you got to ask if you can visit her in her cockpit. I think you got to make a move. Remember,
15-year-old.
The mech pilot that you can hold in your hands is worth more than the mech pilot you left back on Earth. What about you, Brian?
That's weirdly powerful.
Did we just come upon the realization that Mikako is that annoying girl in class that's like super popular and is just constantly on her phone and like has a million hair sprays that she's just like constantly chewing gum? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I
Is
feel
she
like
that, but for mech pilots because she's constantly texting on the battlefield?
She's got to be a gal. Totally. This gal can pilot.
Oh my god.
I think Alice had a point. I'm just gonna add a little bit, which is just that you can source a lover in the mecha genre by unceremoniously challenging them to Mortal Kombat to the death. So
Oh
The
yeah.
John Freud method. I understand.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Young Freud method, the Shar Aznavour method. That's how you do it. You have to lock eyes. You have to somehow be locking eyes, even though there's like 1,400 feet of metal between you.
It's important.
Okay?
Eye contact is important.
God, it's like you're new here. Did you go to boot camp? They teach you this shit at basic.
Do you even go to Mars for training? Jesus fucking Christ.
That or get into a time loop. Time loop's a 100% result.
You can really get a lot done in a time loop. It gives you a lot of time to get the right pickup line.
And I think it's time for a bold new direction of having a time loop and a time dilation story. Long as fuck, and you can't get out.
You've got to vow to never get tired of seeing her cry. That's the thing. That's the key.
Yeah.
God damn it. Wait, you can also create one in a test tube, as Robot Jox has taught us. You can get a love interest that way.
Well, this was specifically a love interest to torment via time dilation. So here's what I'll tell you. Before the jump, I need you to get on Craigslist Misconnections.
Oh!
And you just pick whoever sounds most appealing from the weird, like, poetic, like, I saw you across the cafeteria, you had 4 pickles, I'm obsessed with your hair, and you reply to them and be like, it's me, I got drafted into the mech war. You've already projected a whole relationship onto me via the Craigslist post. Let's make it worse. I think you need to make someone worse.
Are you advocating for catfishing mech pilots right now? I just want to be very clear.
This seems important. This is like, listen, if you don't have a forlorn love
The key is
interest,
you only text them. You never get on the phone with them.
never. It will not be a problem. You're only communicating via text.
OPSEC, I can't send you a selfie, OPSEC.
If you do not have a forlorn lover left at home during the war, store-bought is fine. Go to Craigslist Misconnections and just live Moss. You seem like that kind of petty bitch.
Live Moss. Honestly, go to Craigslist Misconnections and live Moss.
That is the official stance of OSG.
That is the official stance of the podcast.
All right, well, that's our episode of On the Shoulders of Giants, where we discussed Voices from a Distant Star. Do you guys have any parting thoughts on this little OVA?
No matter what, our times will always be aligned.
That's beautiful, Brian. Not to sound like the most rancid weeb on the internet, but is Japan the world if? I need the cell phone.
Thanks for listening. Pilots, remember, you can reach out for advice from the team at our email, questions@osgpod.com, and non-pilots can send general questions or feedback to the same address. Please stop direct messaging me on Discord. They must be submitted in the correct way. That one's for you, Jeremy.
Literally, we cannot be more clear.
You can also catch up with us on social media. The links are on our description and on our website for updates and more. Make sure to check back in the next 2 weeks when we'll be discussing Metal Gear.
Y'all, it's the beginning of the Metal Year.
Until then, Metal Year. Until then, goodbye. I love you.
Goodbye, love you.
Goodbye. I love you.